Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. We are on our third episode of my 0 to Gold Cleric series where I go from level 1 to 15 trying to build the best kit that I absolutely can. My goal, of course, having gold gear involved as well. If you missed the previous episodes, I will have those in the description of this video. I do recommend watching those first. With the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. I'm already level 13, so I know that I don't have a lot of time left before I can hit that 15 mark and start selling my gear on the marketplace. If I want to build a great kit, I am going to focus my efforts on both Red Centipedes and PvP. The reality is, chests and mobs just don't give quite as high quality loot, especially this late into white. Most players are going to have good gear, and if we can get any good trinkets from Centipedes, those could potentially sell for very good money as well. This first fight against the Barb was extremely anticlimactic. We hit him with one Holy Strike, 2 Flamed Mace hits. I'm not really sure what he was doing. Normally, I would just cut this PvP out, but due to the challenge, I figured I would be thorough and go ahead and show this as well. I'm going to go ahead and head towards the first Red Centipede of the video. We are going to get a Invis Potion, which, as of recording, has been nerfed, so rest in peace those, and a Ring of Resolve. Not the best ring we could have got, but any ring will honestly sell. My second Centipede, I'm going to get an Ox Pendant and an Agility Ring, which is definitely better quality loot than the last Centipede. I have been considering bringing in luck potions into these runs, but I find that it's not really worth it unless you're going for the bosses and grabbing those gold hordes. The third Centipede drop was pretty bad. We got a Fox Pendant. Pendants just in general are nowhere near as good as rings, and unless you have a really good roll in them, I find it really hard to sell them. A little bit later in the dungeon, I do hear a player underneath of me. I wasn't sure if they were fighting Centipede or had just killed another player. But, as always, when you're playing Cleric, make sure you free buff yourself, even if you don't physically see somebody. Just plan to be running into them. I do find if it's a PvR fighter, as a Cleric, you have such a big advantage against a fighter, it's not even funny. All you have to do is make sure that they do not catch up to you during their sprint. Make sure you utilize your Holy Strikes, and it's almost a free kill. You can see even when we don't have super crazy speed, keep in mind that this kit is no marketplace. Our speed, I think, is about 301 right now without our book out, which is on the slower side. I'm going to try to grind him out a little bit, using the Holy Strikes first and foremost, get as much HP on him as I physically can before going into fight. Pop our PDR skill, and you'll see the absolutely abysmal damage that this fighter does with the skill activated. It's just hilarious to me. Keep in mind that we're only running 25% PDR. So this guy hit me for, what, like 25 damage with 75% PDR on? Absolutely insane. After a brief rest break to get my spells back, I am going to go ahead and loot this guy's body. He does have a decent bit of loot on him. A few rings, cape, lightfoot boots. We're basically looking for anything that isn't treasure. I will take treasure if I have the space for it. But remember, PvP gear is generally going to sell for more. And as a Cleric, you don't really need heals in your inventory. I usually bring a little bit with me when I'm going into a game. You're welcome to drop them for loot. You have spells to heal yourself, so once you're getting into the late game and you need space for that gear, there's really no risk to drop them. This guy doesn't have the craziest gear I've ever seen, but I am going to get a club upgrade from him, which is fantastic. I'm also going to loot the guy that the fighter killed. He has a decent padded tunic. These just generally sell pretty well. And I'll just grab anything that I can still make space for. At this point, we're starting to get a little bit full, and I do need to keep an eye on the circle, because once you get towards the end of Goblin Caves, it starts to get a little bit risky, just because it can be kind of hard to get the final portal sometimes. Fortunately, it looks like the gate exit was not taken, so we're going to get a nice and easy dub here. Huge profit game, very good first match. Organizing my gear from that run, we got a few decent rings that I'll be able to sell. These Lightfoot boots, I realized, have really good stats. 2 knowledge and the additional move speed is way better than a little bit of action speed here for Cleric. Move speed is absolute king, so I am going to go ahead and swap those out. In our next match, we're right back to the Centipede farming. We get one of the worst possible drops we could have gotten. Phoenix Chokers are not worth it unless they're purple, and of course we don't want to see bandages. I'm on my way towards the main Centipede farming spot that I usually go to. It looks like someone else beat me to it. I find a Warlock. I don't know what he's doing, but he is completely naked. Gonna go ahead and pre-buff myself, go through this door. Now, he is gonna aggro the entirety of the mobs up above. But again, I'm pretty sure he's already killed some of the centipedes, so I don't want to let him go, because that really hinders what I'm trying to do in this game. I need to try to kill this guy, but there are just so many mobs nearby. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and kill this guy and then leave the area and just de-aggro everything because I don't want to have to deal with all of these mobs myself. Turns out I was wrong, and he did not loot the centipedes, so I'm going to go ahead and loot them myself. Dexterity ring's pretty nice. Wind Locket isn't really worth grabbing, even with +1 all, unless it's a purple quality. But even then, Wind Locket is just such a niche item, I don't really expect to get any value from it. Second centipede's not too bad. I am going to get a Fox Pendant, which is kind of hard to sell, but we did get a Ring of Finesse. Getting a blue ring, which is either Strength, Vigor, or Dexterity, is all just pretty good. Unfortunately, because of all the mobs that Warlock had left behind, I didn't get a chance to loot him, but it's fine. He was naked, and he didn't loot those centipedes, so I wasn't too worried. Now, there is a barbarian here, but I am not willing to be friendly. If you don't know, the ending circle, the very final area, usually only has one blue portal. If there's anyone else there, they will just get stolen from you completely. So we need to kill this guy in order to leave safely. I am going to use my Holy Strikes first to try to do as much damage as I can. I'm going to use my PDR skill, and fortunately, it does carry me. The saddest thing about this fight is I don't get to loot this barbarian. I know he has gear, and I really want it, but I can't do it. You can see the circle's already pushing me in, and I'm afraid that if anyone else is there in the circle, I will just lose the chance. If you don't know, the moment the circle closes to that final outer ring, the final blue portal pops up. So if anybody was in this circle already ready to take that, and I came a little bit late, I would just die from no blue portal. It's probably one of the worst design things about Goblin Caves right now is this final circle area. Fortunately, we do at least make it out alive. Wish I could have looted that barbarian. There we go. I have hit level 15. I'll go ahead and show you my stats real quick, just in case you were wondering. I got 7 games played and 10 total kills. I think that's pretty good for a starter kit cleric. Now, we just need to sell all of the stuff that I have and go ahead and build the kit that I want. The buying and selling was a very long process, so I will quickly show you the stuff that I purchased. I bought a Troll's Bane for 800 gold. This weapon is a personal favorite of mine. I'm going to go ahead and buy a Chapelle de Fur with pretty good stats. Spellbook, +3 magic healing, which is really important for Cleric, and some max HP, which is kind of nice too. Found myself a Bear Pendant with 3 additional physical damage, magic healing, and magic bonus, which is pretty decent. Pair of reinforced gloves that have +2 additional physical damage, a little bit of resourcefulness and armor penetration. I'm going to bling out with a golden robe, had really good stats so I couldn't resist. And the final thing I could purchase was this golden cloak with +3 all. And 1% movement speed bonus. I was hoping to find better stats overall, but it was the best thing that I could afford that had the movement speed roll. Alright, now that my full kit has been complete, let's go ahead and show off my full gear sets. So first things first, Troll's Bane. It's just a better quarterstaff. It has -25 speed instead of -30, and 5 movement speed for Cleric is absolutely huge. I personally think the Troll's Bane is better than the Stinky Stick, and they're very cheap, 800 gold for stats like this, 3 weapon damage, fizz power, max health, and armor pen. And it has base max health bonus as well. This is very, very strong. Chapelle de Fur are just very cheap. If you can find a helmet that has good stats like this one, which has max health, knowledge, and resourcefulness, it's really good for the cost. And it's only going to be -2 move speed base because the 5 agility is going to make up for that 7 move speed total. And it's going to give you more PDR than the Chapelle would, which only has a movement speed penalty of 3. I think for this build specifically, the Chapelle de Fur is just better. You could also opt for a leather cap, but this Chapelle was just way too good not to take. Got ourselves a Bear Pendant with 3 additional physical damage, which is pretty good because we're going to be relying on physical damage with this build, not magic. And we did get some bonus stats with magic healing, which is good for our heals, and magic damage bonus, which isn't the biggest deal, but it's just a nice bonus to have for our Holy Strikes. Spellbook with +3 magic healing and 6 max HP. Magic healing is really good for Cleric, but I don't really like spending the money on magic healing on the alternative items, so I usually just focus on getting it on the spellbook, and then if I happen to get it on other items, that's great. Pair of reinforced gloves with 2 additional physical damage, which is going to stack onto our Troll's Bane. Armor penetration, which is kind of useful, and resourcefulness, which is just good for Cleric. helping you open doors a little bit quicker for either chasing PvP or getting away from players. Golden Robe, which I think I paid about 3,000 gold for, with really good rolls and 3 magic healing, so our base heals are going to be very, very high with this kit. And the 5 vigor coming from the Golden Robe is extremely good, giving us, I think, over 140 total HP with our Troll's Bane out. Pair of loose trousers with 1 knowledge and 5 move speed. I think I missed the purchase of this, but I want to say I spent around 600 to 800 gold on this. The Lightfoot boots that I got from Dungeon with the 5 move speed, 2 knowledge, absolutely insane roll on a blue pair of boots. Our golden cloak, the stats aren't super great. The primary thing I was looking for was movement speed bonus. And unfortunately, there were no other capes that had movement speed rolls that had other useful stats. The spellcasting speed's okay, but we don't need memory capacity, but still, the 3 all is really good for Cleric, so it's still a very good piece of equipment. Ring of Vitality, we got this, I think, on the very first kill of the run, and a Ring of Survival that I also got in Dungeon, which has the 3 resourcefulness and 2 additional magic damage, plus the magic healing. I considered buying a different ring. This gold is not mine to spend, because I earned this gold after level 15 to get my Wanderer rank, to get my Troll's Bag next season, and I didn't want to cheat, of course. So I spent the gold that I was able to make this kit, running at 107% move speed, which is really good for Cleric. 18% physical damage reduction, which means we're going to be sitting at 68% with our skill active, which is pretty decent, especially considering we're going to be running over 140 HP. Our physical power bonus isn't too great, unfortunately, but I think considering we made this kit just from level 1 to 15, it's pretty decent as is. I think the thing that I would want to replace if I kept going with it would be to get strength. Probably the Grimsmile rings to add to that physical power bonus. And being that our additional physical damage on this kit right now is +7, that's pretty darn good, making our Troll's Bane default 46 damage instead of 39, which is going to make it that much more likely that we can trade somebody in melee combat, especially with our PDR skill. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as a special thank you for those of you watching this video, I am going to give this Cleric kit away to 1 comment down below after 24 hours. I'll leave a reply letting you know that you won. Be sure to check back if you are interested in this kit. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like, it really does help the channel. And sub for future content. I do want to thank Barty and Kid Brutal for supporting this video, alongside all my other members. Thank you all. Have a great day.